Hello friends, this is Durga again from itversity. Sorry that the earlier link might not work for you. There was some technical glitch. I have been talking for some time and then I realized that it is not being broadcasted. So I have created the new session. Let's start with career counseling for MS student, current jobs and trends. So let me share my screen and first explain the agenda. Okay. So now I'm going into the agenda. So let us start with the agenda. So the agenda is jobs as per current trends. We will see what big data engineer, cloud engineer, DevOps engineer, software engineer as of now are expecting. And these are the roles which will stay for some time in IT industry. These are more generic roles, unlike earlier. Now the organizations are getting flattened and they're expecting people to be proficient in multiple skills, so that they can use the relevant technologies for their requirements rather than using one technology and try to build the application completely. And then I will also explain what are the technologies that are relevant to big data, cloud application development, databases, etc. Then I will explain how itversity try to address the training requirements for the people as per the current trends, the timelines. So what will be made available? I will give tentative timelines for multiple trainings, and okay, and also I don't know what happened. Okay, and also I will explain my agenda for US travel. I will be traveling to US, and I will be primarily traveling between Texas to Virginia and probably to Boston. So if you are studying any of those colleges and if you want me to be there to give insights about the current job trends and about the training I will be providing, etc., I'll be glad to visit your college and conduct a meetup, either college or your residence areas, and conduct meetups to get you information about the skills that are required as per the current job trends. So I will give a little bit of agenda about my US travel and question and answers towards the end of the session. Okay, so now let us start with the actual discussion. The first one is jobs as per current trends. Okay, 1 minute. Someone is pinging me in LinkedIn because the previous link might not be working. So let me share the link with him and then I'll come back to this. Okay. So now let us look into the jobs as per current trends. So the way you should analyze what is expected by market is by going through DICE. So you should be aware of these job portals, social networking platforms. I will conduct another hangout about social networking platforms, and I will explain what are different social networking platforms that are available to boost your career. So social networking is very powerful, and you can boost your career significantly over time by tapping multiple social networking platforms. I will go through all those things as part of another hangout. Anyway, coming back to this, DICE is the job portal. Most of you guys might already be aware. It is one of the low cost and most popular job search portal in US. Okay, and here if you search for big data engineer, or you can search for any job profile, DevOps engineer or data engineer, there are many other roles where you can tap into. And if you open the CBS requirement, okay, And first of all, you need to understand how to read the job description, because if you are a fresher, you might take some time to understand what are the expectations. The screen share is stopped. Let me share my screen again. Okay. Let me confirm that you guys can see my screen. Yes, you should be able to see my screen now. And here, if you see, first of all, there will be some marketing stuff from the company, and then you will end up with primary responsibilities. As part of the primary responsibilities, they will say what are their expectations on day-to-day activities. So they want this big data engineer to build world-class, high-volume, real-time data ingestion frameworks and automating ingesting various data sources into Hadoop. So this one statement itself requires multiple skills to excel in this role. It requires good Hadoop knowledge. It requires to ingest data in real time, that to high volume data into Hadoop. So which means that you might have to learn skills like Kafka, Storm, Flume, etc. Okay. And on top of that, you should be able to research, develop, optimize, and innovate frameworks and related components. So this is the most important one, innovate framework, which means that whatever framework you use, it might not serve all of your purposes. So you should be able to extend or customize as per e-based requirements, and you have to do it at enterprise scale. And it's not only just developing using the tools that are already provided. You should be able to customize also or extend them as per the e-based requirements. And then develop validation frameworks. So when you load the data, you should be able to validate whether the data is correct or not, and it should be automated. And also, if there are any failures, it should be automated. So you need to use some programming language to take care of these things: proactive monitoring, validating the data, detect data ingestion failures, etc. And also, you should be able to take appropriate remedies. And then you should develop data adapters to ingest large volume of unstructured, semi-structured, and structured data from various data sources and types. So when they say various data sources, data can be 1 minute. I am using the wrong one. Shoot. Let me give this link. Sorry for the confusion. There was a technical glitch earlier, and it is causing a lot of confusion. Okay, now it should be fine. Let me start now. Okay, whenever this pauses comes, it will stop the momentum, and I have to recollect. So and also they are expecting you to understand traditional data warehouses and many other things. So these are the day-to-day requirements and day-to-day responsibilities. And what are the skills required? This one is expecting 8+ years of experience, but that doesn't mean that big data engineer requires 8+ years of experience. The industry is going through a big overhaul, and you will start seeing more opportunities in the form of big data engineer, software engineer, etc., without tagging any technology. And also, industry is going through the overhaul where the organizations will become flatter organizations. So instead of having 10 different roles such as junior developer, senior developer, analyst, senior analyst, lead, senior lead, architect, senior architect, etc., now you will have fewer roles, probably big data engineer directly reporting to manager, and few architects directly reporting to the same manager. And the experience for the big data engineer can be starting from fresher to 10 to 12 years of experience. Beyond that, architect and manager will play the vital role, but you will not see many roles starting from developer, analyst, lead, etc. going forward. Okay, so don't worry that it is expecting 8+ years of experience. There are other big data engineer positions also from companies like Amazon, where they only expect 3 years of experience, and there are companies which hire without experience also. Especially when you have MS, even if the job description says it requires 2+ years of experience, you can still apply writing a good cover letter, provided you have done some big data projects as part of your courses. That being said, now comes the required technical skills. It is asking for strong object-oriented programming experience using Java. It is required. So for this one, you need to know Java in detail, object-oriented programming. When it comes to, when they say strong object-oriented programming experience using Java, they are expecting strong core Java skills. They are not expecting J2E framework or Spring Boot framework or Spring framework or any other enterprise application development frameworks. They are expecting only core Java experience. So you should be able to explain collections and data structures, etc. as part of this requirement. You don't need to be worrying about web applications, enterprise applications, etc. Because they are not hiring you for developing web applications. Okay, it's significantly different. So only core Java, and then recent experience scaling and modifying Hadoop ecosystem, and these are the tools they need in Hadoop: HDFS, HBase, Spark, Hive, Pig, MapReduce, Zookeeper, and Casper. MapReduce is again a Java-based MapReduce. And then they're expecting NoSQL databases knowledge. HBase is preferred, but they consider any NoSQL background. And then Agile Scrum methodology, experience with RDBMS, OR. These are all typical software engineers skills. These days, you have to be familiar with those things. Okay. Similarly, if you go to another big data engineer role or title or job posting from Amazon, here you can see they are only expecting 3+ years of experience, but the skills are same. Okay. There is significant overlap, and there is little bit of difference also. For example, this one, they're expecting more of administration and support than the development. Okay, so that being said, if you prepare for big data engineer, you will be not only be able to aim for positions like this one, but also there will be some traditional postings such as Hadoop developer or ETL developer with some Hadoop knowledge, etc. So once you prepare for the big data engineer, you will be able to aim for multiple jobs, not just one or two. Okay. That being said, first let me explain how itversity will help you to build these skills that are required for big data engineer. So as most of you guys are aware, I run a channel called itversity in YouTube, and also I have a website called itversity.com. Okay, so to get into these role-based trainings, instead of going to YouTube, start visiting my website. There will be a tab called self-paced courses, and here I will be publishing courses such as big data engineer immersion, DevOps engineer immersion, etc. As we move forward. Again, I don't know why it is stopping so many times. I'm sharing my screen again. I hope you guys can see my screen now. Okay, so now I'm opening this position, big data engineer immersion position, and you can see the agenda. What I'm doing, I'm actually talking about setting up development environment, then HDFS, Java MapReduce overview. If you want to explore Java MapReduce in detail, there is enough content in my YouTube channel, and I will show the pointers to that towards the end of this lesson. Apache Scoop, Apache Hive, Apache Pig, Apache Spark with Scala, Spark with Python, Flume and Kafka. These are the data ingestion tools. Earlier we have seen as part of eBay's job description, they have emphasized a lot on ingesting data into Hadoop. That's where this Flume and Kafka come into picture. And then workflows using Woozy and virtualization using Tableau, so that you get end-to-end feel of it. And also I will show you how to set up Hadoop and Spark cluster. So all these topics except for setting up Hadoop and Spark cluster can be tried either by using your laptop alone if you have 16 GB of RAM, or I'm also working on providing the lab. The lab will be low cost. There will be cost associated with it, but it will be low cost. If you cannot use your laptop, you can subscribe to my lab. It will cost you around $50 for 6 months. For students, I might give it for a year or two until you are done with MS for that $60, and you will be able to explore all the skills as part of that lab alone. So if you try to map the curriculum which you have published, they matches this 3-year experience requirement from Amazon, and also the eBay requirement, which is 8 years of experience. Similarly, there are entry level also. Even for that, they require the same skills. So if you understand it properly, it's more about skills than experience. Okay, even if you have 10-12 years of experience, if you don't have Hadoop skills, you cannot apply for any of these positions. At the same time, even though you are a fresher, or if you have a little bit of experience in India, and if you go for MS, building these skills, you can showcase and market yourself using social networking platforms to get traction to your profile. And these are well-paid jobs, rather than getting trapped into the staff augmentation companies. It's better to go for full-time jobs. Even if you could not get full-time jobs, even in case of contracting opportunities, going through role-based trainings will help you quite a bit by the time you come out of the college. So like this, I will be publishing content for all the highly relevant jobs as of today and in next 2 years. So similar to big data engineer, I will be providing content for DevOps engineer, cloud engineer, not for software engineer. Database engineer and big data engineer are same. So if you go through big data engineer, by learning few more skills, you can or by learning few different skills, you can actually try for database engineer or data engineer positions also. Okay, so technologies relevant to big data. I have already explained what all technologies that are relevant to big data. You can see you need to understand Hadoop, you need to know Scoop, Hive, Pig. Scoop is a data ingestion tool. Flume and Kafka is also a data ingestion tool. You need to know these data ingestion tools. You need to know Spark so that you can build applications in big data. You need to understand visualization tools such as Tableau, and also you should be familiar about how the cluster, multi-node cluster will be set up. Okay. Similarly, if you go to DevOps engineer, if you search for DevOps engineer rather than big data engineer, okay, and let me open a good position. Yeah, Amazon one will be good one. So let's say you come to US on MS and you are strong in Unix, Linux, and administration areas. And in that case, DevOps engineer might be a good option compared to big data engineer option. DevOps engineer is also well-paid job. Companies like Amazon pays equal amount of salaries for big data engineer as well as DevOps engineer. And the DevOps engineer primarily focuses on the cloud and supporting the infrastructure in automated fashion. And if you look into this, they are expecting 2+ years of object-oriented development knowledge in Java and or C++. This is exception. Not all DevOps engineer positions requires Java and or C++. Amazon expect that, but typically it is not required. Okay, and then you need to have strong knowledge on Unix or Linux. Okay, and you should be well versed with scripting. Even SQL, PL, SQL, it's not that relevant for a typical DevOps engineer. There are exceptions like this where you will see the requirements such as SQL or PL, SQL. Anyway, going forward, you need to have SQL knowledge, strong SQL knowledge, irrespective of what role you will get into. DevOps engineer is not just administration role. It involves the development aspects also, but not the business logic. But to support your infrastructure, you have to store data in the databases, and you should be able to get into those databases and develop automation by querying the information from the databases which are used to store metadata of your infrastructure. That's where this 3+ years experience with SQL comes handy, even some programming experience. So if you are from if you are from administrative background earlier, and if you go to US for doing MS, or if you are not a solid programmer, but if you have solid troubleshooting skills, etc., you should train for DevOps engineer role. So as part of the DevOps engineer role, I will start with Linux. Let me show another DevOps engineer portion, probably this one. And here, yes, this is more appropriate, typical DevOps portion. So they're asking about systems administration. If it is Linux, you have to know Linux administration. If it is Windows, you have to know Windows administration. This one is more towards Windows, so that's why they're talking about Microsoft technologies. But if it is Linux, you will see the similar ecosystem in Linux. And then experience with cutting-edge DevOps tools such as New Relic, Splunk. So New Relic is the tool which will give you the application performance. 1 minute, again, this Hangout, the screen share is stopped. So I'm sharing my screen again. Present to everyone. I don't know why it is being stopped so many times. Okay, so New Relic is the application performance monitoring tool. You have to plug in New Relic to your applications so that your applications can be monitored easily. Similar is the case with Splunk. It is primarily to log mining. So similar to that, to New Relic, Splunk, etc., there are many other tools for DevOps where you can easily plug in. Once you understand the DevOps concepts, you can plug in these tools very easily. And then you need to have good knowledge of virtualization. That's where this hypervisor management and configuration comes into picture. As this is Windows, they're talking about hypervisor. If it is Linux, you will hear about VMware and OpenStack. Okay, so those are the technologies which you need to understand for Linux-based DevOps tools. And most of the opportunities for DevOps will be Linux-driven, not Windows-driven. Okay, and once you set up using once you set up virtual machines using the virtualization software such as hypervisor for Windows and VMware or OpenStack for Linux, you need to understand tools called Chef or Puppet. These tools will help you to manage virtual machines easily. So those are you need to build tools such as Puppet or Chef also. So similar to that, there are many other technologies which you need to well versed. So to cut the long story short, you need to have solid Linux skills. You have to have virtualization layer skills such as hypervisor for Windows or VMware or OpenStack for Linux, and then you have to have virtual machine management tools such as Chef or Puppet. One of them is good enough. And then you need to understand additional DevOps tools to integrate with your infrastructure to support your infrastructure in an automated fashion. Okay, so I will open another one. This is completely Windows driven. Rather, let's see how it looks like for a Linux-based DevOps requirement. So here is the requirements. Again, this is also Microsoft. Again, this screen sharing is stopped. I don't know why it is being stopped. I'm sorry for this. This Hangout is not going very well. Many channels. Probably I will conduct another Hangout in future on the same topic because this is very important. So you can look into this Chef, Puppet or DevOps engineer role. It is from TCS. So they are asking strong Unix scripting experience, hands-on experience with Chef or Puppet, and then other CI tools means continuous integration tools such as Jenkins, strong database PL SQL experience, and this is for capital markets domain. So they are asking for capital markets experience, but capital markets is not mandatory. It's a huge plus. So these are the tools which you need to build for the role of DevOps engineer. So I will come up with a course which will tap all these skills. Again, that will be a very long course. Similar to that, you can explore the other portions also to understand what software engineers, software engineer roles will be expecting these days. So that being said, as per our portal, we will be touch basing all these important skills to train yourself for big data engineer or DevOps engineer or cloud engineer roles. And then you have to do the job search appropriately. And I will give you tips in future. There will be few more hangouts for students, such as effective job search, boost career with social networking, etc. At that time, I will give you tips about how to search once you learn the skills. So itversity strategy is to provide role-based training so that you learn multiple skills by the time you come out of the college, rather than focusing on one particular skill. Timelines. So big data engineer curriculum will be published by end of September. It will be 100% available. And then by the end of the year, we will be focusing on the DevOps engineer. And then we will announce other courses and also the timelines. So by the end of the year, we will at least to give you 2 courses, end-to-end courses, big data engineer and DevOps engineer, and it will be absolutely free for the students. You don't need to pay penny for it. But if you want lab, if you don't have a good laptop, and if you want lab, there will be a cost associated with it, especially for big data engineer. For DevOps engineer, you can use your laptop for most of the cases. In some cases, you have to use AWS. I will not be able to provide lab for it. Okay, but I will be providing code snippets and all those things for you to practice. And then I'm planning to travel to US in September. My dates are tentatively in September, first weekend or second week, and I'll be there for 1 month. Either I will land in Virginia or I will land in Dallas, and then I will be on a road trip or I will fly to different cities. If you want me to come to your college in and around Texas, or in and around Virginia, or in even in Northeast, please let me know. If you can pool people, I will be glad to fly or drive to your college and conduct the meetup either in your college or in your residential area itself, so that I explain a lot more in detail live, so that we have better chemistry between you and me, or you and our company, to get what we are trying to provide as services. So we, as part of phase 1, we are primarily focusing on the training. But by the time you pass out in 2017 or 2018, we will be getting into staffing solutions, and we would like to place you guys primarily in full-time positions. If not full-time, then on our payrolls at the client positions. We need to build the client base, but for that, I need to show a talent pool, because we have started from nowhere, and to get the direct clients, we have to instill confidence in them, saying that we will be able to provide good quality resources at affordable cost for them. So for that, first I am trying to build a talent pool, leveraging the MS students who will be passing out in 2017 and 2018, and then I will try to facilitate even the staffing to you. Okay, so to pass on all those details, live discussions will help a lot. As of now, I'm based out of India. I am only traveling to US to reach out to students, and I'm targeting at least 500, 600 students and I want to train these guys in big data engineer and cloud engineer or DevOps engineer portions, and few other things which I will be revealing soon. And also the training will be primarily self-paced, but I'll be conducting hangouts and try to clarify your doubts. Hangouts are WebEx WebEx meetups, and I will be clarifying your doubts as part of those live sessions. I will be conducting at least 1 or 2 every week for each topic, so that I clarify all your questions, etc. And also I'll be creating the forums or LinkedIn groups for us to discuss any trivial issues. You guys can share knowledge among yourselves, so that you can you can train yourself in these skills by the time you come out of the college. So how much effort it will take for you? You have to spend at least 4 to 8 hours a week. If you are already in the second year, at least you have to spend 8 hours a week for the whole year, which means that you will be spending almost 400 hours to get trained in these roles. Again, if you are already experienced, it might be a little bit faster, but if you don't have prior experience, at least you have to spend 400 hours over a span of year or two to get trained in this. Okay, but that being said, even if you don't have 8 hours per week, try to focus whatever time you have in your hand. And once you are pass out, by the time you will get OPT, there will be 4 to 6 weeks buffer. And that 4 to 6 weeks buffer, if you can spend 4 hours a day over a span of that 45 days, you will be spending almost 200 hours in that 45 days period itself. If you can spend 8 hours a day, you will be spending almost 300 hours, and that is good enough to boost your career. By the time you get OPT, you will be having your skills and that are required for the job market, and you can start job search more effectively with a lot more confidence to get the job. So start focusing immediately, no matter whether you are in first year or second year. But for second years, I might not be able to provide services when it comes to staffing. But for first years, definitely I will try to facilitate a event to get the jobs. Okay. And that being said, yeah, focus on these role-based trainings wherever you go. As of now, there are so many resources for free. You can build those skills very quickly, and you can gain the knowledge. That being said, I will be glad to take any question and answers. Because of the confusion, not many viewers turned out. So I will conduct another session on the same topic again sometime next week. Please spread the word, and I will also make the experience a little better as part of the next hangout. Because of the chaos that went through this today, this is not as effective as it should be. So next time I will conduct another hangout on the same topic, and your experience will be much better. That being said, let me know if you have any questions. I can take a few questions and then we will wrap up. Okay, let me start the Q&A. The Q&A is not there, so even if you ask questions, I will not be able to see those. Now you can see the questions. You have to go to the event issue. I don't know why there is a connectivity issue. I am not sure, Sharath, whether you have joined the call or not. Anyway, I will conduct another hangout on the same topic. Okay, so that being said, okay, yeah, now I can see the question from Sharath. Are cloud engineer positions different from DevOps engineer positions? No, not really. Cloud expects a new tool called Cloud Foundry. Okay. Other than that, everything will be same. So there will be a huge overlap between DevOps engineer and cloud engineer. I'll be providing content even for cloud engineer. If you prepare for DevOps engineer, you can build those cloud skills also. And exploring the cloud skills is a little bit expensive. Okay, first focus on the DevOps engineer. If you have a laptop of 8 GB, it is good enough to start with DevOps engineer. But if you want to learn cloud-based things, then you need to spend some money on AWS to actually get production-like experience when you try to set up Cloud Foundry. Using your laptop, you cannot get the true feel of Cloud Foundry, which is purely cloud-based technology. So Cloud Engineer will have that additional component called Cloud Foundry on top of OpenStack. Whereas in DevOps, we will go, so the training will start like this. For DevOps, it will start with Linux. You have to have solid knowledge of Linux. On top of that, you have to have virtualization skills like VMware or OpenStack. OpenStack is open source. You can use OpenStack to create virtual machines. And once you have OpenStack installed, once you have OpenStack, you will be able to create virtual machines using OpenStack. And once you start creating the virtual machines using OpenStack, you have to have Puppet and Chef. So there I will be covering Puppet and Chef in detail. So here you have to have solid knowledge about Linux, good knowledge about OpenStack, and solid knowledge about Puppet and Chef, and then other DevOps tools. Okay. Whereas if you take the cloud path, you have to have solid knowledge about Linux. Linux is common for both. But you don't need to have solid knowledge of OpenStack. You just need to understand how OpenStack looks like. And then you use Cloud Foundry to create virtual machines. You don't create virtual machines manually, or you don't use Puppet or Chef to maintain the virtual machines. Rather, you try to use Cloud Foundry itself to create virtual machines and also to manage virtual machines. That's the major difference between cloud and DevOps. In cloud, we will focus on Cloud Foundry. In DevOps, we will focus on Puppet or Chef. And there, in DevOps, the virtual machines might be managed manually, whereas in cloud, they will be managed automatically by Cloud Foundry. So that's the difference. And then on top of that, rest of the DevOps tools will be common. So once you know DevOps, it is very easy to add cloud, or once you know cloud, it is very easy to add DevOps. And there is a significant overlap between the two. Okay, but by the year end, I will be focusing on the DevOps course. Soon after DevOps course is completed, within 2 or 3 months, I will be finishing on the cloud also, where Cloud Foundry and all will be explored in detail. I hope I answered your question. Sometimes in the DevOps engineer portion itself, they might ask you for cloud. So very good question. I think you already have some experience about these areas. Will Docker also be part of DevOps? Yes, it should be part of DevOps, even though it is not still extensively used as part of the DevOps. Container-based technologies has to be explored. Okay, that being said, do you need to be master of Docker? Not necessarily, because Docker is nothing but a container. Again, it's nothing but a virtual machine. And there are tools which can manage Docker. Okay, for example, if you use Cloud Foundry, Cloud Foundry uses Docker itself to run your applications. So you don't need to understand Docker to explore Cloud Foundry, but having brief knowledge of Docker will definitely help. Even for DevOps engineer role, Docker is not very prominent at this time, but definitely having the knowledge will help you. And I will be covering Docker also as part of the DevOps engineer course. You are on the right track. If you continue the momentum, I don't know your current status. If you have 1 year or 1.5 year time, if you continue the momentum and if you focus on the skills, you will definitely get a decent job by the time you come out of the college. We can discuss offline also. You can send me an email and we can take it offline if you want further guidance by the time I come up with the content. So any other question? I can take few more questions because we started late, even though we are past the time of the schedule. I will still take a couple of questions. And if you watch this through YouTube, if you have any questions, post your questions in the comment section. I'll be glad to respond to your questions. So Bharat is asking, clients nowadays are generally preferring or looking for experienced resources. Is it possible to convince them that certification can be used in substitution place for experience? No, it is not possible that I am certified, please consider it as an experience. That is not possible. But you should try to convince that you have enough skills to work on that requirements. So sometimes even if the job requires 4 years of experience, if you can convince them you have enough skills to excel, they will consider. They will definitely consider for you for interview, and not all, but many of them will consider, and definitely they will interview you at the least. And then if there are any gaps, they will either explain if the interviewer is a good guy, or they will say that, yeah, you don't have enough experience, and they will say that we'll come back to you a little bit later, something like that. That being said, it's not about just certification or skills that connects you to the job. You need to build the social networking skills also these days. So if you don't have prior experience, and if you have to consider, if you want clients to consider you for the role, I will give you a small example. If you have a GitHub account, and if you start publishing, if you develop a simple web application as part of your course, if you are doing MS, you will be doing projects as part of the course. Instead of getting reviewed directly on the code on your machine with your professor, if you post it in GitHub, and if you encourage your professor to review your project in GitHub and post the comments in GitHub, and if you guys exchange the information before the final review, if you guys exchange few times about what are the gaps you have in your code, and if the reviewer, you can go through the peer review also. If your friends also doing MS in your college or some other colleges, you can get your code reviewed by them. And then you have to close all the gaps and make the code as efficient as possible, as elegant as possible, as readable as possible. And then you can showcase your GitHub profile to the recruiter or to the hiring manager, saying that I have my application developed and it is in GitHub account, and I got this much of score based on this project, and please consider, and I feel that I am eligible for the job description which you have posted. Please consider if possible for the position, looking at your GitHub account, and believe it or not, it can get you the job even without interview. Okay, so you have to go to that extent because there are other challenges MS students are facing these days. If you have to break those challenges, and if you have to get traction to your profile, you have to be innovative, you have to be extrovert, you have to market yourself on social networking platforms such as LinkedIn, GitHub, blogs. If you have good writing skills, start blogging immediately, and by the time you come out of the college, you will have enough followers on your blogs, and that will get you the job very quickly. So try to be innovative. Again, I will cover all these things as part of another hangout. You have to focus on those things, not on just the certification. Just certification will help you as a plan B if you could not get a full-time job. If you want to get into contracting through staff augmentation companies, if you have certification, it will give you some traction at that time. Other than that, it will not end you up, or it can substitute the experience what clients are expecting. Okay, so if you go through the agenda, I'm sharing my screen as part of the future hangouts. I have effective job search, boost career with social networking, overview of social networking platform, and LinkedIn, GitHub, blogging, etc. will be covered. So probably to cover all these topics, it will take two half an hour to 45-minute sessions, and I will get into the details as part of those things. So stay tuned. So that being said, thank you very much for joining. Please spread the word, and please let me know if you want me to be at your college when I'm in US in September. Based on that, I will actually plan my itinerary and try to spread the word in the MS student circle so that I can come up with more and more content relevant to you. So again, Bharat is asking a follow-up question. As per your experience, which one do you suggest among AWS, Google Cloud Platform, and Azure to get started with and concentrate on? The client requirement needs us to have skills on multiple cloud services. So it depends upon which type of company you are getting to. Okay, as a fresher, you should focus on at least two cloud platforms. AWS and Azure are the preferred ones than Google Cloud, because Google is not very prominent in enterprise clients. AWS and Microsoft are more prominent. So I will recommend to go with AWS, Azure, or IBM software. AWS should be must. If you go with cloud, public cloud, AWS is must. On top of AWS, you should know at least Azure from Microsoft or software from IBM. Okay. And if you are already experienced, one is enough. You don't need to explore multiple. But even if you are experienced and if you want to get into the services organizations in a leadership role, like Cognizant, TCS, etc., in that case, having exposure to multiple environments can definitely add value. So it depends upon a case by case whether you have to explore multiple skills or not, multiple cloud services or not. But AWS should be must for cloud engineer or DevOps engineer. I will be covering AWS in detail. On top of that, it's up to you whether you want to learn other cloud services or not. The next question from Sharath. In the starting of the session, you were talking about New Relic. Is it something similar to Nagios? No, Nagios is different. Nagios is to monitor your infrastructure, to monitor your virtual machines and the services that are running on your virtual machines. Whereas New Relic is a APM, Application Performance Monitoring Tool. Okay, so it is primarily to monitor your applications, not your infrastructure. Okay. So you can just plug in New Relic. Actually, I think I have a video on that. Let me see if I have video on New Relic or not. No, I have not created. So there is a playlist already on Cloud Foundry, Pivotal Cloud Foundry. It covers primarily Pivotal Cloud Foundry. Again, the screen share is stopped. Okay, let me. So I have a playlist on Pivotal Cloud Foundry. Okay, and here I have covered some of the services. New Relic is the one which I should cover. I will cover that. So Paper Trail is another example where you want to monitor the logs. Whereas New Relic is a APM tool. It's like App Dynamics. It is primarily to monitor your application, not the infrastructure. Whereas Nagios is more general tool. It can monitor everything, and it's primarily used to monitor your infrastructure. Nagios should be compared with Ganglia. Ganglia and Nagios are similar tools, whereas New Relic is a different tool. Okay, then thank you very much. That's it for today. Stay tuned. We will be seeing a lot more Hangouts like this, primarily for MS students, and also there will be a lot more courses going forward on my channel and on my website. So stay tuned, and also focus on the certifications while preparing, so that it can boost your career a little bit. That being said, thank you. Bye.